What's happening, people, and welcome back to All You Can Eat Warriors, and I mean All You Can Eat Warriors, guys. We are slowly moving our way into the start of the regular season, and we have finally finished the preseason and a lot to discuss. But as always, want to welcome in my man, Ash. How are you doing, brother? Hope you are well.
Very well, brother. Very well over here in Oz, mate. Really exciting. Cannot wait for the start of the year. Obviously, we got a week off of Warriors footy this weekend, but there's no rest for the wicked. I'll be watching all these trials to see if I can do some scouting on a lot of teams coming into this year, right?
Absolutely, man. It never ends. Once the ball gets rolling, you always got to watch. So a lot to cover as well, specifically from the weekend, and everyone, I no doubt, will be interested in hearing your thoughts. Thank you for everyone jumping on the club rooms last night. Great to talk with our members. I've shared a lot of my thoughts, and I'll add to that. It'd be good to hear some of Ash's thoughts. But quickly, just welcoming everyone in the chat. Jazz, as always, good. Welcome, Sir Josh. Kia ora, brother, and the Fanatics as well. Just quickly, guys. I'll be doing maybe Ash as well. I haven't asked Ash, putting on the spot, but we will be jumping on with Fanatics after our show next Tuesday night. So feel free. We're going to go straight from here and then go straight over to Fanatics as well, guys. So that would be awesome to check in with our brother there. He's doing some great work, Or Fanatics, he's doing 100%. Good stuff. You'd see him on Instagram.
He's always a worker, bro.
He's a worker, mate, there, fella. He's a worker. Good to catch up with. He's doing real well. Now, good on your Fanatics, man. Good.
Shout out.
And where is that guy, Josh? He will be back. He'll be back.
Josh with the plug to himself. How about that?
Yeah, lovely. Kia ora, Tans. I hope you're doing well. Hey, Jacko. Good to see you, my brother. Hey, my brother, Lexi. What's up? I'm sliding through traffic at the moment, but hey, man, take it easy. Drive safe. We don't want you to have any accidents.
Drive safe, brother.
Brett Dallas on the panel. You know that reference? I don't know who that is.
I'm missing that completely, brother. But please, I'll look it up. Maybe it's something naughty that I shouldn't look up.
Is
I don't know.
Okay. Sounds good.
Bro, this is an old reference right here. We're talking about Brett Dallas, old. He's 50 years old right now. He played in the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah. Shout out to Brett Dallas.
Still chilling. Big up. Team Mickey. Good to have the chat with you last night, Team Mickey. That was really cool. And just quickly, while we're here, guys, I want to welcome again the toilet inspector.
Woo!
The man that checks your toilets, whether you're talking caca or if you're
Shout
out
out
the truth. That's Mr. Toilet Inspector. Now, welcome in, man. Bro, I said to you last night, you joined the super coach, but if you want to join the WhatsApp group, I haven't seen you pop in yet. But check in the community page. We've got the link there. Otherwise, email me at wiseuptv@gmail.com. Okay, and we'll get you in if that's your thing. You might not want to be in the chat, but it's part of the first grade, package. We want to make sure that you're welcomed in, brother. So,
too busy cleaning toilets, brother. That's what he's doing. Too busy cleaning toilets.
There we go. Okay, great stuff, man. Yeah, we'll bring you in there. Fanatics. Yeah, definitely, man. Looking forward to having you on the channel next Tuesday. and Brad as well. Oh, cool, man. That'll be awesome. Okay, my man. Let's get into this. A lot to cover from the weekend, but just quickly, I shared a lot of what I thought about the game. What's been your recap of that game against Melbourne and Hamilton on Saturday?
Yeah, obviously, it's very positive, right? Like, we got to also remember, it's trials. Melbourne Storm put out their B side. Some would say their C side as well. There's still a little bit of NRL talent in there, but I think the biggest positive is we did what we had to do, right? 36-0 in that first half. We rolled through them with ease. That's what a good first grade squad is supposed to do against the side of what the Melbourne Storm ran out there with over the weekend. We've seen NRL sides over the weekend run out a fairly decent side and still get pumped by 50. Unfortunately, shout out to the Gold Coast Titans, but, not a great performance from those boys out there. But it's trials at the end of the day, right? You're allowed to take these losses. You're allowed to learn these lessons. But I think the big positive is I think we got a lot of confidence there. Luke Metcalf, another week in that 7 jersey, again, showing the ability that he has in that jersey. Tamati Martin had a really solid game out back in number 1. Chanel, he's just showing everyone it's like, why am my name not in the conversation for number 6, right? I'm sure Josh is in the chat going absolutely mental, being like, his name's always been there. Shout out to him. But yes. Bro, a real positive game overall. I think a lot of our boys shined, and even our juniors shined when they came on in that second half. Even though we lost that second half 10-0, there was some bomb tries out there. I think that we could have easily converted another couple of tries on the Melbourne Storm. So very, very positive, bro. How'd you take it?
Yeah, a lot more to kind of dissect this week, a lot more to think about. Chucking Tamati at fullback through a curveball that I didn't really expect, but it presented a lot of interesting insights. So yeah, it's intriguing for me. Performances all around were good, and I get a lot of people, talking about Melbourne C or D team. I understand it, but you still you're looking for signs that of the team that's got a structured attack, or and we saw that
exactly.
And so I was impressed by the ball playing, the movement, the speed of play. I thought everyone, and in fact, I want to give credit to Webby for putting out a strong team both weeks. I think he's clearly trying to get this team into good shape to start the season off, and I respect that. And so, yeah, this one, yeah, you still got to take it with a grain of salt preseason, but it's nice to see players like RTS. It's nice to see others in positions that you feel comfortable or confident with.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's going to be the right spot for them this year. And there's no one impeding anyone right now. I mean, you could probably argue last year with Sean that, Metcalf could have been a 7, but Sean was there's no one in any spot right now that feels like they're not where they should be. If that's the case. If that's what I'm trying to say. It felt really good across the board, and even with the young guys coming on. But yeah, that's kind of where
I totally agree, bro.
Yeah,
like it felt like a game, like as you said. I think we ticked a lot of boxes that we did want to see. We started to see some really new looking attack in a way that I think a lot of people get excited for when we had that, that 3-half look. Tamati Martin going to that fullback role and him chiming in certain different places. It looked really, really crispy. I think the big thing as well is we cleaned up all the bad errors from the week before with the Sharkies game. I think a lot of people should take note of that. Obviously, the roll ball penalties. I don't remember us catching one of them. If we did, it was in the second half. I think the first half we were all goods. So yeah, like in general, very good hit out and no major injuries coming out of this one that I know of anyway. So that's always a big positive to take out of it. All the boys look fit. They're ready to go. And there is a little bit of hype, in, just normal general NRL circles about a couple of boys coming to their season, like Ali Leotar. People are starting to notice now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ali Leotar, people are noticing. Lek Alasima, shout out to Bloke in a Bar. People are noticing some of our boys now. So it's time to put them on the big stage of Vegas.
Yeah, it is time. It's time for them to get their fair share of opportunities. I think a little one that's a little sign that's doing well is that I thought New Cordy and Capewell played well. And that they look ready to go. And I know a lot of people were big advocates of pushing New Cordy back into the middle as an impact forward. Where do you see him after this preseason? Do you see him as a starting back row, or do you see him on an edge? I mean, funnily enough, Jackson Ford playing in the middle in this situation.
Yeah.
Where does Newcourt and maybe even Ford right now fit for you in this squad?
Yeah, I think that with Nick Hood, I think he starts off the season on edge back row position. I think it will be like the way we kind of run into the preseason. We started with him on that right side edge back row, both 2 games. He's had a connection there now with Luke Metcalf, the way he runs his lines and stuff like that. But I do think there will be a part in the season where you start to see Laban or Leka Lasima really push him for that role in the edge back roller spot. That will end up pushing him back to the bench and become more of a middle forward. So right now, at the moment, I do think he starts off as an edge back rower, but I think there is still potential of him coming off the bench and being more of an impact middle forward, especially with like Laban and Leka Lasima showing their potential in these trials, and probably also, whether they're going to come off the bench to start off the year. I think they're going to really show their ability. That's really going to push Martinique Corday this season. So there's still time. When that's going to happen, I'm not too sure, but I do think they will start the season with Martinique Corday running that hard line outside of Luke Metcalf. So really excited for that.
If anything, when I'm watching back the tape, it's nice to see that connection with Luke and Marata. That's a good sign. Not to say it could be better with, Leka or someone else. We'll get into Tom Ali as well. We both kind of agree had a good little run as well. So there's pressure on you, Cody, and that's good. That's a good sign that if you slip up, you have a bad performance, the next guy's ready to take your spot. So I like that. I've always liked that type of intensity, and so it should be. Just quickly, one that pops out to mind, Aaron Clark. What a first half from him. The work rate, the energy. What did you make of Aaron's performance? And for you, has he solidified that starting lock position or role? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Yeah, for me, he's definitely our starting number 13 in the season. And this is not to say like he's better than Dylan Walker. I think the combination works better with Aaron Clark starting the game, Dylan Walker coming on with a little bit of tired bodies. You can tell the difference between our attacking style with Aaron Clark there, very direct. He's got the ability to ball play. Like, I don't think we've seen the full extent of it just yet. But running through the trials, he was a very controlled but dominant middle forward out there. I always felt like he was finding his front. He was like, taking contact really well. He's a decent sized body in the middle. He's not the biggest body in the world, right? He's still small but nuggety, but he gets through a ton of work there. He can obviously build on shape. He has good connections outside left or right due to playing halves and all that coming up. But when we do have that start of the game where he's going to get through a lot of the work defensively mainly as well, which is one of his strong suits there just as well. Just very similar to a Jazzy Tavanga, right? But a little bit younger. And then we bring on Dylan Walker after, about a 20 or 30 mark. And that's when we start to see us start to go hit the edges probably a little bit more harder. Dylan Walker loves to get those play a little bit wider and just, we up the tempo from the middle. I also love the connection when we did have that little moment there, Aaron Clark and Dylan Walker at the same time. Brings back the Bald brothers of Jazz Tavanga and Dylan Walker. If we're able to play with that and up-tempo type of style of football, I'd really enjoy to see that during the season. But yeah, at the moment, Aaron Clark's ticking all the boxes for me to be that starting 13.
Just quickly, Aaron Clark, teammate, is a bigger, faster, more skilled version. He's actually, like I said, he's a different player. We watched Jazz, and Jazz was always more of an impact prop. Aaron's definitely a ball-playing 13, and so I always knew that it would be an upgrade. Well, we didn't predict him replacing Toru, and I don't think anyone did, but there is some confidence in that he could be the guy to kind of fill that gap, while Walker's going to be the guy to really open things up. So I totally agree with a lot of that talk as well. So, but yeah, man. Anyone else for you stood out on the field? What did you make of? Actually, what did you make of Leatoa? I saw some comments coming through about Leatoa and his performance. I thought he was absolutely awesome. What did you make of him in the centers?
Yeah, incredible. He's really growing so well into his into his body. He's so damaging, bro. When I saw him in a first trial at the Sharks, people got to understand the matchup he went up against was an NRL style backline of Sam Stonestreet, and obviously he went up against Kale Iro. And every time he went into contact against those boys, he'd look like the more dominant at times, right? He's got beautiful way he runs the football, beautiful bumpers. He's so strong. He looks fit. I think the only thing with Ali is obviously just injuries, right? He's had injuries coming through the grade. Last year, he was hampered with a little bit of injury. He ended up coming back later on in the year due to that. So I cannot wait for him this season. He showed his potential with both those tries that he scored. He's beautiful on the line run, but also if you give him a little bit of early ball, bro, he can shake and bake and pump off a couple of blokes to get over the try line. A beautiful 30-meter run there for that try. So, potential's high, and as I said to start the show, like, certain guys have got their name up in lights due to like a lot of rugby league circles watching these games, and he's definitely the front and forefront of that. Ali Leota, everyone's really excited for him this season.
Yeah, I thought he was absolutely just confident and consistent. I think, and that's for young guys, it can get really hungry to want to do something amazing and try and pull off a. Because you're on the TV, on the big screen, you want to show what potential you have, and I think Ali's quite consistent and just being a really good, solid player. And on the other side, you got to just talk about Idemia. I thought he did a great job, just holding his own. Showed moments that, man, he's got a rangy, long body. He's got a potential offload late. Helped kind of set up the try for Roger. Staying active, staying in the game mentally. What do you make of old Idemia? I thought he's going to be a future player in a few years' time. Yeah, what do you make of him?
Yeah, he's definitely a great talent. Eddie's like where his real potential lies as well. Like, he's talented when he plays in that center role, edge back role, middle. That's the thing. He's so versatile that we can chuck him anywhere and he thrives in that moment. If anyone's watched him in Cup, they'll probably see that every team list every week, he's been put in multiple different positions. Like, we come out with 1 week him playing center, next week playing up in the middle, next week he's playing edge back row, and he thrives in all of them. So I'm really, really excited to see that. Him to get put up, in this game here. Obviously, a really nice little try assist there to Roger Tuivasa-Sheck. He had to get the offload off. Beautiful ball playing and that ability there too. But when you go back and watch him in Cup, he's a great ball runner on that edge. He knows how to run a beautiful line. He's not the biggest edge back rower in the world, but when he plays there, he's got a ton of heart, and he's definitely got ability to continue to watch out for the future. But as I said, I think the best thing about Eddie, he's so versatile. You can chuck him anywhere. He's our Mr. Fix-It in Cup. He could be our Mr. Fix-It in NRL as well. If we do get hampered with backline injuries, I do see him being an opportunity to get into our centre role, or, with Graham Talfers of the world and stuff. So depth in that position is looking really, really good for the future with the Warriors at the moment.
Cool, man. Yeah, I thought Eddie looks like he's going to be a good quality player in the future, and great for him to get a good run and starting run, actually. Just moving towards... I'll talk about it now, but specifically the wingers. We'll start with RTS, which I think everyone wanted to see how he'd go on the left wing, and it looks a good fit. What do you make of it, Ash? Is he going to hold that spot for the season? Does it make sense? Does it fit for him personally and for the team? What's your thoughts?
Yep. This is where I eat humble pie. Obviously, last year I enjoyed, RTS at center. I was barracking, just like hold him there, just relax, like he'll be okay and all that. But now looking at it, obviously, just him in the winger position probably suits him a ton more, right? Like, he's going to get a lot more ability with the ball, especially his carries out of yardage. Just thinking off the top of my head, when Dallin comes back off injury, we got, Chanel Harris-Tavita, Chance Nickel-Kostak at fullback, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, Dallin Martinez-Lesniak. All three can run for big yardage out of the back end. So I think that Roger's got the ability, even at 32, to become a top 10, top 5 winger in the competition this season if he continues to hold on. Obviously, errors the only thing I think that he struggled with a little bit last year when he got put out of position in that position, or when he was at fullback and wing at moments with high balls. But obviously training there preseason, a full preseason season there in that winger position, I think he'll be eating up those high balls and taking them back, and just wait for that massive right foot step, see how you going, left foot step. Oh, he's incredible, bro. I cannot wait to continue to see him this season. We got to understand, obviously, he's still he's getting older, 32, going 33 at the moment, I'm pretty sure, right? He's around that age. Yeah. So injuries could hamper him this year, but he is looking fit. He's looking crispy. I can't wait to see him out the back of some really good shape as well.
Yeah, and for him, if anything, it'll be a lot to do with his age, and if injuries hamper him,
Agreed.
It's little niggles that keep you out for 2 to 3 weeks. You come back, you get another 1, 2, 3 weeks. So it's one of those ones that hopefully he has a full season, but the potential's there. The yardage should be there. All the metrics should be good. I mean, we did talk about the one-handed finish. Doesn't really quite have that. He's got the
He's
old
not there
school.
yet, nah.
Something he hasn't worked on. But, when they're running that shape, and we'll get into Mighty next, but when they're running that left-sided shape, you need to have that finishing, that one-handed finishing. It's not like he doesn't have, he can't do it. It's just you got to work on it pretty much. But apart from that, I felt pretty good. Likewise, just going on to the opposite side, it was like a mini DWZ out there on the right wing. Tane Tuopiki, what'd you make of his performance? I thought he was absolutely awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, very positive. Got through a ton of meters in this game, 151, a decent amount of run rate. As you continue to say, like, he's just so smart as a footy player. Like, when you see his body, his size, you do think that, and at moments, right, if he gets in contact, one-on-one with a defender flat, he's going to come off second best. But he's so smart to find those little, areas that he can really exploit in between defenses. And, he runs so well. He takes contact fairly well now. And as you said, that finishing ability, it felt like he was giving us a little bit of Dal there, right? I think that he was thinking it the whole time. He goes, one hand, I'm going to show people I can do this. And he did it, right? So he's definitely good at, I love to have him on the wing to continue to have there for the season until Dal comes back. The only thing I do worry about with Tane, I did point it out in the thing before, and we did see it over the weekend with a bigger winger, is when it comes defensively, those big bombs in the corner that he has to come off these back foot. When you're attacking bombs, right? It's a little bit easier to get up there and take him over the top of wingers like he did in the last couple of games, right? But when you're on the back foot and you have to take those defensive bomb positions, that's where he might get caught out, which he did against the Storm. We worry about players like Xavier Coates and stuff, but I'm sure that the biggest thing out of that, though, too, is us as the Warriors just can't allow that to happen too much. We got to obviously contain the side to the opposite end of the field as much as we can and not allow them to get in those positions on our try line to put a nice bomb up into the corner and really have that big contest, and thinking about it on top of the head, you got Adam Pompey as well. That's probably going to pair up in him on that side. Ali's on that side, right? So Ali should be able to contend up there and help him out in the aerial battles as well. So I think he'll be okay. I thought he performed really, really well, and I'm excited for him to start the season.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good positive sign. Just quickly, guys, before I get, thank you Interwebby for the super sticker, man. Thank you very much. Ooh. I did see it come through earlier, but appreciate that. Sending that through for us, man. Thank you very much. As always, man, you're always a big supporter of Wise Up TV, but thank you as always. Look, guys, we've got to quickly jump over to 62 of you guys in here. Can you please hit that like? And if you are here for the first time, if you want to subscribe, please subscribe. But let's get up to that minimum of 50, please, guys. It always helps with the algorithm, etc., to continue to promote the channel as well. Let's go. Who am I? Anyone else you want to talk about that's coming to mind that we need to discuss? I know everyone played really well. But
a lot of people played well, bro. I think that if we continue on, it's going to take forever. But Tom Ale, bro, as soon as he came on the field, fitness-wise, bro, he looks like he's cut. Playing on that edge back rower role when he first came on, looked good in moments as well. He's just one of those guys that's always going to be sniffing around our bench role, and he has the potential to be a good starting prop and all that in the competition, but he's always been a guy that has been up and down for us. Hopefully that, with a little bit of, weight probably trimmed off his body, which it looks like he has, he looks like he's fit and ready to go. He might be pushing for a bench spot this season, and I don't hold back on it because he's definitely got potential. He just needs consistency, and he showed a lot of good things over the weekend. So Tom Ale is a big one for me, and obviously Lek Alasima. Samuel Healy had a nice couple of moments, bro. Like, we can touch on forever, but Tom Ale, as soon as he rolled on, I was like, ooh, you're looking fit this season. I like to see that.
Yeah, no, he is, and when I was watching it live, he looked good, damaging, and everyone looks in pretty good shape. So I think we'll get to more guys as they come up, guys. But quickly, anyone who do fail to deliver. I know we've talked about Kossi. I thought he actually had a pretty good second half. There was some line breaks, bomb try. The finishing wasn't quite there, but it's for him. I feel but we'll start with him. But I know he's an easy target, so to say. Look, he's got an opportunity, and I think he just needs to continue to work on his game, refine his game. Sometimes this happens to players, especially young players can get in a bit of a funk and that. But
Yep.
if anything, it's consistent game time. Like, again, I know people will probably say he shouldn't even get a shot, but if he does get a shot at some point due to injury, would be good to see him just get a good run of games to build some consistency. And if anything, I'd love to hit specifically in Cup to get have a good season. But is anyone that for you failed to deliver, or you want to talk about that we need to maybe even temper our expectations on? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, like, Ed Gossi is a big one that comes to mind when you do talk about this. Like, obviously, that first trial with the Sharkies, his errors definitely put us in some bad positions. But Ed's just, a guy at the moment that, like, I think everyone understands that he's dealing with a lot of confidence issues. He's trying to get his game under order. He's always had very, very, like, hot performances. He's had moments like that, like the Sharks game last year, not 2023 Sharks game, where, against Ronaldo Mulatalo, I thought he had a stormer in that game. And then he's had games like the Melbourne Storm game, his first ever game, where he had, some shockers, right? But this is the thing with Ed, is just hopefully he continues to develop. That obviously his athletic ability is there, right? But I think the game, unfortunately, has moved past certain wingers like him at the moment. So, I think there's still ability for, like, big body wingers, but, probably more of, like, the big body, big yard, like a Ken Maumalo type, those sort of boys, which I loved, during that era of the Warriors. Unfortunately, I think the game's gone past those sort of boys, but not touching too much. I thought that obviously, Montu Pasikala is a guy that got a ton of potential, guys. I don't want to bash on him too much, but, he didn't obviously have his best trials when I seen. Ball running wise, you got to see a little bit of talent out of him in that, but, like, he definitely still got to clean up a lot of footy IQ areas. He's moved from SG Ball at that fullback position to the wing in Cup. I thought that both trials, he had okay moments, but he has had errors in him in those trials he needs to clean up on. And of course, like, I think Jet Cleary has been amazing, right? I wouldn't say failed to deliver, but again, it's just like for Warriors fans out there that have incredible, like, a massive potential expectations on Cleary, allow him to develop, guys. Like, he's definitely got a ton of potential. He moves like Nathan, all that sort of stuff, but he's still like our, what do you say, fifth string halfback, maybe sixth string.
Yeah.
You got Luke Hanson probably ahead of him in that area as well, who Luke had a really solid hit out these last couple of trials. So those are the ones I'm sort of thinking of. We didn't get to see a lot out of Kalani Goings. Geronimo Doyle in the second game with the Melbourne Storm definitely didn't have his best moments, but he's more of a utility type of player that we play in Cup. Other than that, there was a lot of positives for a lot of players here that I couldn't really say anything crazy negative during the game. So I'm like, Kurt Capewell probably in that first game of the Sharkies probably had a little bit of a downer, but he got a little bit better in the Storm game. And I think he's the type of player that grows into a season as well, as we saw from last year. So I'm sure he'll clean up that area as well. So those are the sort of players I thought that had a little bit more disappointing performances, or just need to temper down a little bit of expectations around Jet Cleary, obviously, is a big one.
Yeah. Jet, he's like a little kid in the candy shop. When I was watching him just warm up down, from where I was sitting, and he's just there trying to dap it up with the boys, talking to the big boys. You know how you get your little cousin coming to a conversation at a family gathering. And you're like, hey mate, what are you doing? Get lost. You're not supposed to, but they're always keen to be around the big boys. They're trying to talk it up. Oh yeah, no, I did that too. But he's just kind of one of those young heads. He just needs a bit of time. He's just excited.
Okay.
I think he's really, from what I observed, it's like he's going out, he's venturing out on his own course. He's got this massive shadow that he's behind in terms of his dad and Nathan, two big figures and I think he's kind of coming here on his journey, and he's excited and pumped up for it. So, but yeah, guys, just temper that one for sure. But I think he's definitely one that's going to develop into a good player. In no time, but I agree, man. There's no one else that really kind of I feel bad on that. In fact, I give credit to Webby. All the boys look very fit across the board. Everyone looks solid. In terms of, there's not a high level of errors that feel like, oh man, why is this guy not catching the ball? I think everyone's defensively, we look really sound. So just quickly, maybe we'll just do a preseason recap. What have you gathered from this preseason? What have you learned about the team, and maybe even comparing it to last year's preseason? Is there any differences that you might have noticed that we've improved or we've either gone backwards in? What's your thoughts on this whole preseason of 2025.
Yeah, I'll put the attack on a back burner because I think a lot of people will be watching Luke Metcalf and like his connection, the way he's got the team around the park and all that. We'll put that on a back burner. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But talking about defense, there was in the Sharks game, we definitely got put to the test in moments with that defense, even though it was a lesser of a side going up against one of our premier sides out there in the trial. But we definitely had to defend our line a lot of moments there too. And there was a lot of good signs at our defensive movements. I think that Thomas Hazelton try, probably a lot of people probably looked at that and gone soft, but when we fixed up in those areas, Hazelton has moments to do that too. But we fixed up in those areas where our middles are really linking up with our edge defensively. And, Willie Mason's a big proponent of it too. Like a really good middle, pushes your edge back rower out and really chases from the inside of that half and creates them to play early. And I think a lot of that had to do like when we went up against the Sharkies, Dan Atkinson didn't have a lot of his best game in that one due to the pressure, the inside pressure we end up putting on him from the inside. I noticed that through the trials a lot more. And we're hunting like as a pack, which is a really good sign. I think we lacked that a little bit last year. We had moments where we were pinning teams down the opposite end, but in the middle part and in our defensive line and our goal line, we weren't hunting as much. We were more, waiting, and we had players that, took time off in the middle, and it created a lot of gaps for players to cut back on the inside and score. So I think that we've cleaned up on that area, and I think that's something that Fish has definitely brought to the club with Barnett, and, they've all got together and, they've picked up the intensity. They've got better defensive movements. I think the boys have cut a lot of kilos so they can move a lot better, as the Doggies did last year. So I think that was a big thing that pointed out for me. I know we didn't have to defend a ton, but mainly in that Sharks game, from what I saw, I think all our movements were really sound. And even backing onto the Storm game, the Storm came off of 2 tries, right? With a fullback that doesn't usually play fullback for us in Cup. He's more of a utility back. So defensively, they struggled to get through us there as well, even with a lesser side as well. So I think those are the key things I picked up early is our fitness, our defensive movements, which is what gets me really excited when we got Fisher Harris and Barnett in our side as captains. That's the way we're going to be leading from the front, and then we can play some footy off the back of that with Metcalf and stuff like that.
Totally agree. Defensively, it looked really solid, and I'm really happy with that. Again, we'll wait to see when the season starts, but I think from my observation, the depth and development guys have gone up a gear since last year. They look a lot more ready. They look a lot more in sync with what we're doing. So the gap, let's say, for example, last year, the gap was here between the first graders, the experienced guys, and the development. It's probably kind of there now. They've bridged a little bit of the gap in terms of quality and that. So in my opinion, I think we're in a good space for at least when guys get injured. I feel comfortable knowing Dimitrik's in there. Put him in. Put Lecker in there. Put Laban in there. He'll do a job. And we just talked about Newcourtier at the start, that if Newcourtier drops off one step, Lecker's in there. Ali's in there potentially, which is great. Just quickly, I want to touch on the last point I want before we move forward type thing, but the Tamaide at fullback is a really interesting approach. It's a different style to CNK, but also I call it like a trinity of halves. It was like having 3 halves on the field when you got into an attacking set, and it just made it look a lot more dynamic. Those that argue for the kicking game and that, this was a good game to see Tamaide just used purely as his running and passing game. And then he got into his kicking game in the second half. But I like the look of it. You saw a lot of the tries. In fact, Tamaide was involved in pretty much all the tries. But you see him getting all around the park. Do you feel that this is a genuine look we could go to throughout the season? Is it maybe what we will do, or do you think we'll go back traditionally to the CNK with CNK at the back and just traditional 2 halves? But I found it quite interesting and quite effective at times as well. What's your thoughts, Ash?
Yeah, I think it's opened up the opportunity for us to run that sort of look. I think the way we could do that is mainly have maybe Tamade Martin in that 14 jersey or Chanel Harris-Tavita in that 14 jersey, put him on and run those sort of players. The only thing that worries me about that a little bit is going to be a little bit more janky, as in those boys have got to come on the field and find themselves into that situation. But, obviously in this game, they're able to start the game off like that and build a combination throughout the game like that. When you do that mid-game, sometimes that is a little bit tougher to do, but it definitely looked really nice, especially with a fullback that goes on both sides of the ruck, playing out the back of both shape. The way I looked at it was, of course, that option 100% can work, and Tamada has showed that he can play in that that fullback role like he did with the Broncos, and he had success doing so. But I was also thinking I think Webby used it as a tool as well to show Tamade where he wants him to, to put himself when he's in the lineup next to Luke Metcalf, if he is going to be the sixth to start the season. Because a lot of the moments that he was end up getting put into was a lot of those positions that he needed to be into to create that hybrid halfback role that he's talking about with Luke Metcalf, right? Where he can get Luke Metcalf out the back of shape, or he can get out the back of shape of Chanel Harris-Tavita, which was on that left-hand side, which Luke Metcalf would probably be that, dominant half that's sweeping on the opposite side of the ruck. So I think that I thought he had a decent performance in that Sharks trial, but a lot of people obviously calling out for being quiet. I don't know if Webby maybe took it as obviously he looked very quiet in that trial as well. Maybe I could have been wrong there. And in this one, who's trying to put Tamade in all the positions he wants him to be into. It's a lot easier for him to do that at fullback, right, than he is to be in the six, where he's got to be defensive line, he's got to stick in his position. But he's probably just opening him up and say, listen, you got free reign. Get to yourself in these spots and allow the attack to build. So those are the things I was thinking about, but it definitely opens up the opportunity to run that three fullback look, that three half look, right, that you spoke about. Yeah. So just have to wait and see. At the moment, I still think it's Luke Metcalf, Tamade Martin, 6-7. But Shania Stavida having that game that he did, he showed a good ability there too, especially the left foot kicker. So what's your thoughts in there, bro? How'd you take it?
See, I took it as a really good sign, and it actually helped Metcalf and CHT. There was the tries that he set up for Leatoa. Tamari did that double play on the short side that set up the first try for Leatoa, and then was involved in a lot of the plays. But they kind of changed the point of attack and when they were using Tamari as opposed to how would they use CNK. And I talked to you on Sunday about it as well, as that. Remember the game against the Sharks game, and Luke died with the ball on the fourth, and then CNK put that grabber kick in, and it went dead for 7 tackle set. What if that was actually Tamaide on that 5th tackle putting in a grubber, and you get a potential try? It's just putting questions in mind that we, even as fans, we should try and think outside the box sometimes, and don't think that the natural solution is always a running type fullback. I mean, yardage-wise, Tamari did great as well, but I'm not saying he's a better runner or even style of runner like a Tane or a CNK. The other part was the defensive organizing part, which is massive too, and he was pretty good at that as well. So I'm not trying to say he's only good at one thing. I thought he did covered well in all departments, but it's something that we should be encouraged by, that if we do get in an injury run, or if we're finding the attack is stalling, that we've seen it in preseason, there's an opportunity there. The last thing I'll say is about CHT. I actually understanding why I think CHT might work with Metcalf is that it takes a bit of the pressure off of Metcalf on 5th tackle options, take a bit of his numbers down. I talked about last night was that Sean could kick the ball 30, 40 times a game, no problem, and get it on a dime every time, get it where he wanted to. I think with Luke, especially in his first season, we need to take a bit of that kicking pressure off of him to allow him to process and get his mind focused for the next set, or, the processing part of it. And that's where I think CHT is a benefit in that sense, that you can just give him the ball in the 5th. Luke can get his head around, getting up for the next play. So that was my thought process around it. It's a headache for Webby, man, because you got so many different options. What do you do? But the thing I got from it though is, I feel CHT, Luke is the guy to lead the team. That's no doubt about it. Now we're talking about who the 6 is, who the fullback is, and that type of stuff. So I think we'll cement Luke Metcalf as that 7, and then everything else should be built around him and actually supporting him, in my opinion. But just quickly before you go, thank you, Tony, for that $10 donation, my man. We always appreciate it. Thank you, bro. Thank you for your support. You're always a beast, man. But thank you very much. But yeah, actually, Ash, you had some thoughts to add to that.
I think like at the end of the day, right? Like I think I said that in my video on YouTube as well. And I've been a big proponent. I still think that like Luke Metcalf, Tamati Martin works, and it does work well. Defensively, Tamati Martin obviously is very good in that position there. So is Chanel. But if Chanel gets that 6th role too, I think it's a very good looking position that we're in there too. I think the thing we can all agree on is whatever halves pairing they're going to go out there with, and Webby has shown that he's going to do this as well, because like a lot of people complained about him picking and sticking last year, that if he goes into the season with his halves pairing in his mind, he's going to pick and stick on those two and allow them to build that combination throughout the year. So I enjoyed the Shanaris DeVito look next to Luke Metcalf. I agree, like having that left side kicking game definitely helped him out in those areas. Even in the moments, I think that Luke obviously had that 40-20, but Chanel had a lot more dominance in the general kicking, with both those sides there too. So It's like, it opens up different can of worms. You got like Tawane Martin that I believe like ball playing ability and all that probably outclasses those other boys there too. But if you want more of a complete number 6 that defensively can do a great job, he's still got good ball playing ability. Like he loves that double pump. Old Chanel, he threw that double pump out 3 or 4 different times, and the Storm still were biting on that double pump. I was like, guys, it's coming. I'm sure it's going to look good either way. And I think that even like with me, Cloudy, like I think Tanner Boyd's a decent footballer. I just want to see him grow, right? But if he gets some sort of jersey there too, I think either way, we're actually in a good position, because Luke Metcalf looks like this year that he's going to step up and be the man. And everything else around that is just working around Luke Metcalf, I believe anyway. So I'm happy to see Luke Metcalf, Chanel, Luke Metcalf, Tamade. I don't think it matters that much in the fact of that. I think Luke Metcalf, no matter what, is going to get a big direction to the side, and he wants to be the 7, directs us into the future, and that's what we'll be waiting to see with a lot of these boys.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great argument, and guys, when the halves are, we've all talked and argued different things for each player, but when those halves are decided round 1, I think everyone's going to get behind them and support them. So that will be great to see, and we can't wait for that. But it was definitely, I thought, very interesting having Tamati there. And I honestly think these halves in general, all of them, will have their ups and downs. But like I've always said, back them. The coach should back them if he believes in them, right, all the way through. So, but yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Thank you guys. 86 of you guys in here. That's probably the biggest we've had in a long time. Thank you for dropping in. Can you hit that like? Just Tahi, one of our moderators, saying 9 more likes, Fano. So we'll hit that marker.
Before we move on too, bro, lastly, like whatever halves we end up running out there with over the weekend, just think that our New South Wales Cup halves are going to be absolutely incredible, right? Like it's one of like, Luke Metcalf's got the 7 jersey, but it's one of Tanner Boyd, Tamati Martin, and Shanaris DeVita. 2 of those boys are going to be our New South Wales Cup pairing. So, and I think a lot of clubs would love to be in that position. So I think we're going to be okay. I think overall we're going to be okay.
Has Boyd played yet? No, PC hasn't. Unfortunately, injury. So we might see him through the season. I'm probably pretty sure we'll get a look in at him, or at least the New South Wales Cup, depending on how that happens. So, and we can definitely watch a lot more of that New South Wales Cup and 100%. See how he's tracking with the team and the system. So, but good talk in the chat, guys. I can see a lot of insightful corridor around all options, and it's really cool to see. Let's just move into just sort of, are we ready? That's the big question. You do take these with a grain of salt. I mean, I remember the Stephen Kearney preseasons that the guys are training the house down, and then things kick off. But this is the 3rd year. I feel confident in Webby's systems. We'll find out round 1. I mean, obviously we've come up against some. I really, when I looked at that Melbourne team, there were a bunch of young guys put together, and I respect that and understand that. And so we're not trying to hide from that as fans. I don't think anyone here, Warriors fans, is hyping anything up. We know how things can change within a minute, in the Warriors, injuries, everything. So, but there are some really good signs. Are we ready? I think we've got the first things first. I think we've got the right leadership. I think Fish and Barney as co-captains will will do great for our team. I think Webby another year. I always hearken to Webby that he's still a young coach, young head coach. He's adapting. He's trying to learn. He's trying to improve. His staff are trying to improve. So I'm thinking this can only go up from where we went last year. But we'll pretty much find the gaps throughout the season of where we've improved. Me and you have always been big on defense. First thing is first.
Yeah.
We will find that out against the Raiders in round 1, how we shape up defensively. We've done well in this preseason to just keep the numbers very, very low. But we'll have a good idea of where that we sit defensively. But for you, Ash, are we ready? Do you feel confident, at least, not to say we're going to hit top 4 or anything like that, but do you feel confident that we're going to have a good season performance-wise?
Yeah, that's the whole thing, bro. Is I think that we're ready. I think we're ready to go in the season. I think the boys look fit. They're biting at a bit against the season. The real question is obviously like, what's people's expectations for the season for the New Zealand Warriors? I think like as Warriors fans, like we've obviously a lot of people may get excited for the trials here, but as we continue to say, these are trials. I still think that we got the ability to make top 8 this year. I think that it will be around that 6, 7, 8 sort of position that we can find ourselves into. But we also do have the ability to find ourselves just outside the 8 due to the amount of talent around the competition right now. And we we did lose a little bit of experience in the offseason, a little bit, a lot of experience, right? A lot of people calling the heart of the New Zealand Warriors, right? So I think that we're ready to go. I think Webby as a coach is very, he always seems to have the boys ready to go, up and firing. Whatever happens during the middle part of the game and injuries and that definitely is up for question. But I think that coming to the season, as you said, he's a young coach, very similar to a young Ivan Cleary when he had to step up for the Warriors. He had some great moments, had some moments that he had to learn, ended up becoming one of the better coaches in the competition. I think Webby's still got the ability to do so. So defense is 100% key. Yeah, you're 100% right. Fanatics as well. I think that we just need to start the season off on a good note. Going up against a very tough team in the Canberra Raiders that, Ricky Stewart just knows how to play grindy footy. So I think we're ready to go, Bella. I think the boys are biting at the bit. I think we got potential to fire into the season and really catch a lot of teams by surprise. But I think a lot of people should understand that our expectations this year is around just hopefully getting into top 8 and not so much start talking about top 4 and, premierships. I'm sure the boys as a club are talking about top 4 premierships, right? The players want to be that. But as fans and staff, be realistic. We understand we're in that phase right now where we want to see these boys step up on the big stage. Luke Metcalf, we want to see him consistently be the great number 7 that he showed in preseason. That's the whole thing. We still got a lot of questions about our club, but I think we're top 8 ready for sure.
Yeah, no, totally. Hey, big shout out to Steve, brother. Hi from the Waikato. I think we're tracking well played. The 2 form teams preseason. Let's hit the jackpot and make it. Hey, let's hit those pokies over there, man. Let's hopefully we get a good run on the on the game there. But welcome, bro. Hope you're well. I'm from Waikato as well. Might see you around sometime, Steve. But welcome in, man. Absolutely awesome. I think we can take it from it positive. I think that little bit of a preseason in. I didn't realize how big of an impact the last preseason was. But these are professional players. You expect them to do. But I mean, it's good that they've had a full run. I agree with Jacko there. There is no excuse technically from time frame. You haven't been cut short from time. We know Penrith do it every year, but credit to Webby. They've had their time to work on stuff. They brought in Fisher Harris. They've lost AFB. We understand that with 2 retirees and Sean and Tohu, which is a massive loss for experience. But that you replace that with youth in terms of depth guys. You got Aaron Clark there who looks in good shape. He looks like a body that wants to work and will keep the tempo of our games up when sometimes we could probably be a little bit slow. There's a ton of positives, and I can only say, I think we're ready, but we'll find out in that first round. All I can ask for is that we've been big on it. Get the defense right, make us solid, and be consistent. That's all we can ask. We want our guys, we're not saying we're going to win 16 games. We've said that, Mark, and we talked about having about 12 games gets you into the 8. I think, you should try and get to that. If you get more, great. But I think performances wise, you should be definitely keeping under that 18-point mark per game defensively. And you know, and then attack wise, we should be looking to be more potent across the field in all parts. It will look a bit different with our AFB, but I think we've got the Luke Metcalfs, we've got other guys coming through that. You know, we talked about it, I think, maybe a few weeks ago about everyone has to bear the responsibility of this. Like,
exactly.
A lot of weight was on Sean and AFB and other guys to step up. This is a team that will require everyone to play their role, which is great. The more responsibility, delegation, we know that helps people improve as well. So, any other thoughts on the topic? Yep.
Yeah. I think the system suits us to be more of a balanced side, right? Like the Penrith Panthers, they are a balanced side. They play, everyone digs in. It's not about, obviously everyone will say it's about Nathan Cleary, but there's a lot of things that go around in the background that helps out Nathan Cleary become Nathan Cleary the way it is, right? So, we got Mitch Barnett, James Fisher-Harris, those boys are going to be all bearing the weight as well. And I'm sure everyone else is going to step up in their abilities to help out. And I think we're going to be, I think we're going to be okay. I really do. I think that, with the experience that has left us, we're still the third most experienced side in the competition. I think I saw that stat fairly recently, which is a surprise for a lot of people, but we are. Like, it just shows that how crazy amount of experience we had in the last couple of years. But when you do think about it too, think about the premiership experience we still have at the club. We brought Fisher-Harris. He's a 4-time premiership winner. Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, he's won a premiership. He's a Daly M winner as well. Kurt Capewell's won premierships before. These guys have all been out of really good systems. Dylan Walker's won a premiership as well. And other guys have been to the grand final and know what it takes to get there. So we've got a lot of good experiences still at the club and still got ability. I think the only key thing is obviously Tohu and Sean were the heart of the New Zealand Warriors. Who's going to step up and become the heart of New Zealand Warriors? And I think it really comes down to Fisher-Harris. What type of hole can he fit into? And can everyone else step up in their abilities to continue on? And I think we have the ability to do so, bro. I'm very excited to surprise a lot of sides in this competition because I do think we are going to come in that little underdog sort of mentality again this year. I don't want us to always keep that, but it is going to help us in areas as well, I think, this season.
No, for sure. We've always done well when we're underdogs, let's be honest. Stay under the radar is always a good thing for us. Allows us to get into just a great comment here from Mackie I thought was worthy of talking about. Yeah, that does allow Webby to build his team, having AFB, SJ, and Toy. I mean, those are players he inherited. I think we're now into his third year. Everyone that he's recruited in is at least in the team and big parts of the team. So I think we're seeing, not to say Sean and that weren't part of his vision, but and he done well to get those pieces to work effectively as part of what he wanted to do. And which is honestly, I think he doesn't get enough credit for turning that team around instantaneously. Like we couldn't believe the levels that the guys were playing at, and pieces that they weren't even his pieces, and he just came and worked with him and said, "Yep, you're going to do this, you're going to do that." Jackson Ford, who are you? Yep, I'll figure out a place for you. He did all these little magic tricks to get that team going. But now we're starting to really see him in full effect as a coach and what his vision is. So, yeah, I totally agree with that, Mackie. It's a really good comment there, actually.
100%, bro.
And Don, good to see you, my man. Great to have you back in. I hope you've been well. But anyway, man, I think let's get into a little bit of predicted 17. We'll do our final one next week, obviously, once we get a bit more, info as to who's healthy. I mean, there's even comments about Berry being on track to be coming in at some stage. So we'll talk about that a little bit as well. Pompey just getting re-extended. We'll talk about that. But we'll give out what based on what we've seen in preseason, what we expect. We'll give our thoughts on that. But 94 of you guys in here, that's massive. Thank you so much for jumping in, guys. If you are here for the first time, please hit the subscribe. We've got content galore coming out, and also hit that like button. Thank you very much. It's great to have that many people in here. But yeah, just quickly, Ash, we'll start maybe back five. Who have you got as your starting back five? And for at least for Vegas, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. My starting back five for Vegas at the moment. So we got Chance Nickel Clockstag in that fullback role. I always mix up Chanel and Chance, but yeah.
Yeah,
Chance
the
Nickel
C's.
Clockstag in fullback. CNK, bro, the hyphens. Anyway, then we got the wingers of Roger Tuivasa-Sheck and Tane Tuapiki. I think Tuapiki obviously will get that role now. Dalton's out. And my centers would be Adam Pompey and Ali Leotar. Obviously, Rocco Berry trying to race the clock back, and hopefully he takes his time too. Those nerve damage issues. Hopefully he gets it all sorted before he jumps in. But that's my back five. Chance Nickel Clockstag, RTS, Tane Tuapiki, and my centers of Ali Leotar and Adam Pompey.
Yeah, it feels pretty solid. I agree with that. I think that's what Webby will do. Even though we've seen different looks, obviously we talked about TMM and that, so it's interesting. But yeah, it's I think Pompey's solid. I think Leotoa has looked really good. We've seen what Tane and Roger. I think there's points in that backline.
Yep.
There's line breaks. There's a lot of speed in that backline, which is great. Like Metcalf, you need to be up on his tempo, which 100%. I think will benefit him. So, yeah, it's exciting, man. I think CNK will come back in and be that workforce. I think he's looking a little bit sharper, like everyone else. Looks a little bit fitter, a little bit sharper. So I expect another good year. I'm expecting a good start from him, at least for this season. We'll go 100%. Now into the halves. Have you finalized on who the halves pairing will be?
Yeah, I'm finalized on number 7. That's Luke Metcalf. The 6 role, like, I'm still going to go with Tamade Mutton. I know a lot of people probably will still disagree, but I still think he has ability in that 6 role to do a good job. I think that, obviously playing fullback over the weekend, as I said before, I think it could be an inkling of Webby saying, these are the positions I want you in, so get yourself in there. And to end the trial with his kicking game and stuff like that being showed, especially short kicking game in that 30-meter yardage, I thought he was really, really solid there. But after the performance of Chanel Harris-Tavita over the weekend, I really do think there's ability there for him to get that 6 jersey straight away. Especially when Luke Metcalf and Chanel Harris-Tavita got pulled off at the same time in that trial. I went, okay, there might be that food for thought. Chanel Harris-Tavita might be our 6, and either way, I'm happy. I'll get behind Chanel, and I think he's doing a good enough job there. But for me, at the moment, I still got Luke Metcalf, Tamade Martin. But Chanel's a close one there for that number 6 jersey. So,
yeah, it's a great argument. I feel confident in both. Definitely feel they're going to go with Luke, and I feel good with Luke. Like I said, as long as he's got that partner, we talked about it, especially in like a few weeks ago, about just having someone that balances him. And I do feel Luke will need someone to just balance him in the right ways.
Yeah.
Again, there's sometimes, he's died with the ball on the 5th tackle. There's sometimes he kicked out on the 4. Some options. It's not being critical. It's just saying that he's young and that he's going to have moments that, it's not going to work sometimes.
Yeah.
And that he will need the right partner, whether that's Tamari or CHT, to balance, to give him the support that he needs.
Exactly.
I think he's a really good player. He's a creative player. He's a sharp player. I think he's solid in that 7 role based on what the system offers. Kicking wise, goal kicking, we know he's been great. He's taken the mantle of that role. So for me, I always like Tamari as well. But I'm starting to come around to, the likes of what Josh is saying about CHT. I'm starting to picture the fit for Luke. I'm coming more around to the point, like, we need to find a fit for Luke more than and whatever that is. But yeah, no, I totally agree. That will be the big talking point, and everyone, especially Josh, they'll be like, "Yo, I told you it was CHT or whoever it is." We'll know next Tuesday at least.
He'd be loving it, bro.
It's a good talking point. But yeah, okay. So then we'll move into our front row and hooker. I think it's pretty much. Yeah, we know who those 3 are.
Bunty Afoa, Jackson Ford, and Mitch Barnett and Fisher Harris, bro, our captains. Cannot wait to see them on the big stage, especially this season. Those are the guys who are going to power us through the season, I reckon, and hold the standards of the club. And Wade Egan as well, who actually I thought had a decent 2 games in the trial. He showed that he's got scheming ability again. He's got the, I think he's fixed up a little bit of his technicality in defense as well, which is obviously we want him to stay on the field. That's the biggest thing about Wade Egan. Don't get your head caught in those bad places, and allow the boys like Fisher Harris and Barnett to get through a lot of defensive work there. Just fill in where you need to. So, because he's such a big piece in our attacking ability as well. I think having Wade Egan at number 9 just helps Luke Metcalf so much in that 7 jersey. I think a lot of people forget how key he was for Sean Johnson in 2023. So, that's our 3 there, baby.
Just quickly, I know a lot of people have asked this about Barney and Fish. How will it work with those 2 being on the field at the same time, and say they get subbed off? Is that an important thing that they're both, say, not on the field at the same time, or that at least one's on the field while the other one's off, or does it not really matter? What's your thoughts around it? Because I know some people really think, I think of this more of a captaincy of like the team throughout the week, all of that. On-field captain, I get it. You need someone that can always be in the ear of the ref, kind of leading the guys around, but what do you make of that situation, which I think is a common one? They probably will be playing at the same time and come off at pretty similar times. What do you think?
Yeah, that's definitely a food for thought. Like, as I said, exactly what you were saying. When I heard the captaincy, I just thought of overall general as the club. These are the 2 players that are at our forefront. These are holding our standards of the club, and that's what a captain is around. I think in-game captainship, has like obviously Cameron Smith's the big one that a lot of people look at, the way he talks to the referee and that sort of stuff, which is like, big in the game, right? And I'm sure that if Fisher Harris and Barnett come off, I'm sure that someone like Dylan Walker, RTS, will fill in that role in that captaincy, because they've still, like, RTS was our captain for, a decent period there from the, the 2010s, right? So when he came over to the 2020s. So, we still got a captaincy there that can come out and do the calls of captain's challenge, those sort of things that a lot of people obviously would be thinking about. But for me, as a club, having Barnett and Fisher Harris as our captains, not even talking about game time, anything like that, I think that was the best way to go no matter what, for me, in my opinion, because it just shows the standard of the club and the work rate they want to get to. With the minutes as well, I'm sure that obviously Fish is probably going to play his 40-50, which is what he usually plays at the Penrith Panthers. He'll probably play the first 20 and be pulled off, unless Webby does want to push him a little bit longer, which is obviously been the deficit of Webby in the past. He's done that with AFB and stuff, where he's played him for long minutes. But I think with Fish, I think he'll be 20 to 30 minute first half, 20 to 30 minute or 20 minute in the second half. Barney, for me, he can play that 60-minute role if it really comes down to it as well. He's done it, for us last year, and he did that to full effect, and he didn't have a big drop-off while doing it either. So there will be opportunities where Barney stays on the field, Fish gets interchanged off, and maybe we bring on Vai Mwanga, or, if it's Bunty or 4, or, vice versa. I still think there's ability there for someone to be on the field to do that, but I'm not worried about that too much at all.
I did like this one from Team Mackie that Egan and Walker could be co-captains. Yeah, that's a good. I think it's just having someone on the field that can talk with the ref, send the message to the players if needs be, and I think a lot of the comms come through the trainer these days anyway. But when you're thinking about Fish, and I want to encourage everyone to think about Fish and Barney, it's not so much. It's more so the leadership throughout the week and training and those types of things. The messaging they're sending, even at halftime when Webby's there. Relaying the message, they jump in at halftime and recap that message and add to that, and then also the leadership, the physical presence. They say about Fish, technically he shouldn't even be a captain with the communicate if he was based on communication, because he's not a talker. He's there for the leadership and people eyes on him, watching what he's doing. He's doing the extras. Oh crap! If I'm Tom Harley, okay, I need to go in and do some extras. Fish is. He's leading by example, so always think of it that way. But I understand the thought behind, your captain's your one on the field and talking to the ref and all that. But yeah, other ways to think about captaincy. Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. 100%. Okay, let's go back row. Who's your left edge? Who's your right edge at this moment?
Yeah, left edge is going to be Kurt Capewell. I think we're going to start the season with Morata Niakore on the right edge, but as we touched on to start the show, I do think these young boys are going to really push Morata this season, and I think that within maybe round 10, 11, 12, if Morata is not stepping up to the plate or maybe injuries and that, and one of these young boys take that role, they could possibly take that and run with it. So it's going to be Kurt Capewell, Morata Niakore, but the ability for these young boys to get that later on in the season.
Yeah, man. I think, like we say, boys, it's the young pups are there. We felt they were there last year, but definitely this year you can tell, like, no, they're there right now. And let's just quickly, Narlan's coming with Capewell zero tech. We had a good discussion about Narlan. Me and Ash have been talking about Capewell, and I think there will be a transition in the future years, probably to Laban or someone else. But at least for now, we feel he's a very solid player who does his role consistently, and that is an important thing for back row play. I mean, I know throughout the years as a Warriors fan, we've had amazing talent in the back row. You know, Lauatiti, others, Folletti for a good run there, but that style was always at the risk of errors or inconsistency. Now, not to say Capewell wasn't inconsistent last year, but he kind of rounded out better. I think he's going to have a better start to the season. But he's showing those signs that he's going to be solid no matter what. And that's something that you can't really discredit. Although you'd love, for me, I'm all about back rowers can get through the line, offload out to the center or inside. But for now, at least, what's your thoughts on Capewell? Because there's a bit of a tough thing on Capewell.
With that comment, it was a tough critique because, like, you know, I think out of the two back rollers, like, if you're going to think that Morata Niakore is going to be throwing offloads left, right, and center, or do you think Kurt Capewell is going to be more so the one to throw offload? Like we saw last year, he had errors to his game because he held the ball out, waiting for someone to come through for the offload. Like, I remember that Knights game. Remember, he held onto the ball for, like, you know, that whole time. He's got that beautiful hit and spin on the side. He's got the ability to play center. You know, we saw him in Origin a couple of years back, obviously, running down the sideline at center. He has gotten older. He's obviously older now, but, you know, I think that there's errors in his game at moments, but the one thing you can never count out on Kurt Capewell is he's going to turn up on the next set. Look at the trials against the Sharkies. He dropped the ball. He had that error, I think, in the ruck. And then, like, later on, I think it was Heminuele hit the line. It was Kurt Capewell and Wade Egan, I think, came together and forced the error out of Heminuele. So that's the type of player that Kurt Capewell is. He's a hard worker. He's going to be out there for a long minute role. And yeah, attacking ability. What are you talking about? Like, he got offload. He's got a hit and spin. He's got stuff there. I think sometimes that even when we go left, it looks a little bit better than sometimes when we got that hard running edge back rower at times, because Kurt Capewell loves to play off the cuff at the moment. So I don't fully agree with that at all.
Hey, kia ora, Jose. Good to see you, brother. I don't really agree with it fully, but respect it to Narlan. Now, the lock position, I feel confident in saying Clark is that going to be that guy. You pretty much saying that as well, Ish?
Definitely, but I think he's going to be the guy to start out the game, and then probably, what do you think, about 20, 30 minutes on, Dylan Walker will come on and fill in that role.
Yeah, 20, 30 minutes. I think once they get a good feel for where he's at, you know, he's done a stint. I mean, his work rate was great on the weekend. He's got a good hard-hitting style. And I think, he'll set the tone early, make that punch through the middle, and then Walker will start to really dissect, analyze. I mean, you see when Walks comes on, he just kind of really pushes the team around. Even off the yardage, he just goes, we're going to go hard left this time. We're going to go right. We're going to hit the short side twice. You know, so that's great. And that too, if you think about it now, adding in voices to help Metcalf, that's another one I forgot was Walker. And so, you know, that when that 25 minutes comes on, you got someone, especially for Metcalf, that can help you direct things and set stuff up, which is great. So
100%.
Walks, if he can stay healthy, but specifically I thought Clark is good. I like the signing. I like the effort. I like how he's looking physically, mentally, and it was great to see him in this preseason. So
I echo all that, but perfectly said. Perfectly said.
We'll go now to the bench. This is a tricky one. There's, it's kind of. I mean, we probably lock in Walker. I think we know that's going to be our man off the bench. Now we'll just isolate at least for now. Do we go with a hooker replacement in a Sam Healy to cover for Egan? Is that what we need? And again, we know with Egan, it's quite difficult to know if he can play 80, and we know he can, but that head injury or knocks always around the corner, unfortunately. But what do you think we do? Do you think we go with a Sam Healy on the bench to cover that? But he's also quite big, Sam. He might be a good defensive option as well. So what do you make of it?
Brother, my head's in the air still of this one, eh? Like, I think Sam Healy, he's very raw. Like, I think a lot of people do need to understand that as well. I think defensively, he's very, very good and he shows high potential there. His running game, very, very solid. But there's moments there too where he does space out a little bit, take the ball out to the opposite side from where the shape actually is, and he kind of gets mixed up in moments. But he's definitely got time to grow. He's very raw at the moment, but he's got a very high ceiling as well. I think that, I think running against the Raiders, I think that we could run like a Dylan Walker and 3 forwards, and not have Healy on the bench there. Maybe Healy start off in cup. And then maybe if a head knock happens with Wade Egan, Aaron Clark might have to push and play some minutes in hooker. Don't really enjoy that too much, but if we have to, we could do that. It's just like when we have Sam Healy on the bench, it does look a little bit light, and I worry a little bit that we're going to miss maybe a Vai Moanga on the bench, or one of those boys are going to miss out due to that. But I think there's still ability there. I think that I'll lock it in. We'll go Walker and Sam Healy. We'll start off with that. We will. We'll see what bench we can fill out with those two people there.
Yeah. Okay. I think there's. Yeah. I think Webby's going to have to be really thoughtful on this because, he pushed AFB and even Barney quite a bit last year to play those long minutes, and it's times he went with a 3-man rotation. Really, when Lussick sat on the bench, or whoever might have been Pompey or whoever sat on the bench for a long time. I don't think you can push out JFH this year. No. So it look, I would go with a 4-man bench. I mean, Healy is an option. You're going to have to be real careful about it. But let's stick with Healy because I like the idea of having consistent, good hooker play throughout the game. And I don't want to sacrifice that. And not to say Lussick wasn't good. He was good in his own way, but we need that tempo from the ruck if we're going to continue to chase points, if we get in a bad situation or if we just want to keep our tempo up. I think Healy's the right guy to have on the bench. So, okay, let's stick with those two. And then who's the last two to fill out, really? Yeah.
We'll try and fill out the last two, and then we might come back to dropping Healy off the bench and fill out who we're going to fill in that. Yeah, because I agree with you. When we got Fisher Harris and Barney, if we do want that double change and have that, fluidity, like Aaron Clark's got the ability to play hooker, I think, better than Dylan Walker could, and I think he can do so. I just don't really enjoy that too much. But anyway, we'll move on. My next cab off the rank, you got to have Jackson Ford in the lineup, I think. I think he had a good stint here in this trial game. He is on decent money. He is definitely being a big part of our top 30. Gets for a tireless amount of work. I think he can do a job plugging the hole for that middle part of the game, and then we're going to bring on another bloke off the bench as well with him to pair up. But I think Jackson Ford probably gets a role there.
That's a good shot. I know a lot of fans probably wouldn't have Jackson there, but I understand the sentiment. Does that impact, for example, a Dimitrik? So say if there's going to be one more spot, would Jackson Ford be your back row cover as well, so to say?
More so. Yeah, okay. That ability. Yep. I think Vai can definitely do that as well. I've seen him play edge before. I like Vai more so in the middle, and that he loves to play in that 13 sort of role as well. But at the moment, if we're going to fill out the bench for me, I would go probably Jackson Ford and Vai would be our other next cap of the rank. But if Jacko maybe needs a bit more time in cup, I understand. But I think with obviously his contract, he's come over for the club. We've played him, he's been around our top system for a little bit. I think it's going to take a little bit more before we don't see him in our top 17. So I think he'll start the season in off the bench.
Okay. That's a fair shout. Let's do now a bench without Healy. So we've got Dylan Walker. We always know that's the anchor man for the bench. Now, how do you build out those other spots? Say with like a forward bench. What would you go with?
Yeah, I would. So we're going Dylan Walker. I'll go Jackson forward. I'll go Dimitri Vaimwanga, and then I would probably either go Tom Ale or Bunty Afoa. I think that like having those guys off the bench, I would love to push Leka Halasima in this lineup somewhere. For me, I think that Leka should be starting on the edge, but we got Marata Nikore. I'd push Marata Nikore off the bench. But going off of what Webby's done in this preseason and stuff, I think that Leka will probably start maybe in Cup, and then we'll probably see him mid-season.
I do think that will be the case. I mean, even there's arguments for Bunty as well, looking quite solid. Ale gives you a bit of versatility. We did see that in the back row. It's tough, man, because you got Laban even sitting out. You got Leka.
I know.
Laban
might actually steal that too, right? Like, that's another thought. He played that first trial off the bench. He looked like he was in the starting lineup there, but then got pushed to the bench. He played multi All-Stars, so he didn't get to see if he got any sort of like rotational moments there. This is the thing, right? It's really, really tough. Like, this is what Webby has to contend with. There's a lot of people are calling out for on here, but we're not able to have a 20-man lineup on game day. We have 17 men. So, it's tough, bro. It is tough.
Yeah, it's very tough call. All different benefits. Right now I'm thinking they got to go with a 4-man bench. And you use Aaron Clark as cover for hooker. If something happens to Egan, I just can't see it right now with Healy there. You're just losing too much impact, and it's better to have one of those young pups come through. But it's a great argument. It's this is the tough thing for Webby. He's got to be really certain and sure of what he can get out of Egan, and if that's I ideally, because I'm the same as you. You don't really want to see Aaron Clark playing minutes at hooker, because that will mess with his minutes of coming on being an impact guy. So you were banking on Egan playing the full 80, in my opinion, which he can. And just like we say, you just got to keep your head out of the wrong places. But and it's a tough one. It's a really
it's a great discussion to have, because I think it does like make you think as well as like we do have depth in certain positions that we are having these troubles, right? Of like, I think that if I think with a lot of Warriors fans, right, they'd probably want this bench. Like, I'll just name it off. We'll go Dylan Walker, Dimitri Vaimwanga, Leka Halasima, and Jacob Laban. I think everyone would love to have that, but people forget the dynamics of a football club. Certain players that have got themselves in certain positions. There's hierarchies in clubs. We can't just like totally like negate certain people like that. Like Jackson Ford, he works hard. He works tirelessly. I'm sure he trains hard. You can't really negate that as well. I would love to get one of these young boys in and try to push him in. Vaimwanga for me is the first cab off the rank, but Leka for me is someone that I can't. And Laban as well, you know what I mean? But it's got to come down to, there is hierarchy, there is pillars, there's experienced players that we still have at the club that can do a job off the bench. I think that will probably end up going Dylan Walker, Jackson Ford, Vaimwanga, and either Ale, Bunty Afoa, or Jacob Laban. It possibly could be Laban and people could be happy. I'm not sure.
So let's make two benches. So we got the one Walker, Dimitri, Ford, and Healy, and then if you had another bench without those players, you'd have Tom Ale, Laban, Halasima, and maybe Lusick. There's a bit of depth there, across all positions, which is great. Which tells me there shouldn't be an excuse for injuries this year. If we do get hit a little bit, the young guys should be, I think, ready to step up. Because that's a solid other 4 players off the bench that you could bring in, and especially if we keep Lusick. I think that's always another extra layer to say, if Egan gets an HIA, is out for a week, you bring in Healy. There's a bit of cover there for Healy, or you go Lusick and Healy. So I think I feel confident with. Yeah, I think a lot of fans want the young guns, purely the young guns on the bench. It isn't going to work like that, but no. At the same time, it's nice to know if one guy gets injured, there's your young gun coming through, and an environment that feels safe and they're not exposed as such. But Yeah,
It's
it's
just
a
the way
great
football
argument.
clubs work, bro. You look at it throughout the whole league, and that's just how football clubs work. Like Zion Maiu's not even named in the first 17 for the trial for the Bulldogs this weekend. They're probably going to run out with a guy that wanted to go to the Doggies to try and get into that role. And a lot of people, Warriors fans, were really like, get him in the 17, get him in the 17. He's not even able to get into that 17 as well. Like a lot of clubs are leaving out incredible stars, like Jack Todd that played for the Doggies in the trials and absolutely blew it away. I'm sure Doggies fans will be parading for him to be in the top 17, but he's not going to be able to because they've still got Curran, they've still got, Curtis Morin, they've still got Jamin Salmon, they've still got a lot of experienced players that are building the level that these players have to get to consistently. I think that's the difference between our young boys. And I think when those young boys get it, they'll take it. It's just, I don't think it will happen the way our fans want it to. Obviously, Maratini Akorde, a lot of people want more out of him being an 850k player. You can't just drop an 850k player to New South Wales Cup if he's playing okay standard football. He's still going to be around about. So I think that it'll be a little bit, and coming against the Canberra Raiders over the weekend, I agree with you more so now thinking about it. I'd probably love to have that 4-forward bench to really contend with those boys because they're going to run a very high velocity type of forward pack with big boys for the middle. Corey Horsburgh, Joseph Tarpane, Josh Papali'i. Like, there's some boys that can get some good run meterage on you. If you have a small bench, we might lack behind during those times when Fish and Barnett are off the field. They might roll through us a lot easier than what we hope. So let's hope not.
Yeah, no, totally. Okay, that's great arguments. We'll wait to see, guys, round one. No doubt all of our guys will get a shot this year. But they just got to be ready to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that rounds off that. Well, guys, we got another week to get through more stuff. So let's not, we might find out more injuries with Rocco Berry. From reports, sounds like he's on his way back and earlier than expected. I'm not sure when that is, but so there's other discussions to have. Let's not. Yep. But we'll save some more for next week as well. With 100%. Fanatics as well, guys. Don't forget, we're going to do a show with Fanatics after our show. So that'll be good to hear his views as well. Let's just quickly go to some other news now. Pompey extends to 2027. Congratulations, Woo! Pomps. We've enjoyed you as a player. We're Mr. Consistent, Mr. Reliable. He's always been there and done his job. We know what we get from Pompey. And he always delivers within that framework of his ability. What's your thoughts on this signing?
Yeah, good signing, bro. He's always going to be, as you said, he's always going to be a player that gives you, 7, 8 out of 10s and that. Like, there's some games where you can have an off game here or there. So people obviously going to point out. But I think he's gotten to a level now that every time he comes up in the first grade, he does a good job for us. Goal kicker too as well, which is really positive. And especially with the, we touched on the middle depth that we have at the club. If we have injuries in the middle, like we shouldn't have any excuses with our middle depth. But if we have any injuries in our back line, we're going to be really, counting on certain people like Adam Pompey. And Pompey, whatever he gets in that position, he does a great job. And it's great to have him around the club for a little bit more. I think he's just a Warriors man for life, and it's good to have people like that just loves the New Zealand Warriors and will stick with us, no matter what.
If we were to speculate in terms of the range, the price range, are you thinking in the 3 to 4 range?
I'm thinking, probably 4. Yeah, 4 5s, 4. Yeah, 4 sounds about right for a guy that's probably, when Rocco Berry comes back, he's going to go back to Cup. But he's definitely a guy that can step up, and he's one of the better, backup pieces in the competition. Like, there's not a lot of sides that can bring in Adam Pompey, into their lineup, right? When injuries happen. Yep.
Now, congratulations to Pomps. I think that's good news, and always goal kicking element too. Let's not kid ourselves. We're always looking for goal kickers, and he adds a depth of experience too. Wishing him he has a good year as well. And guys, especially when we think of Pompey, we're not saying this is blowing the bank 800k a year. This is, I think we're saying in the 300 to 400 range on the lower tier. Yeah. A guy, let's be honest, he's probably accepted that pay scale and is happy with it, because you don't usually accept a deal when you got young up and comers like Aleatoa, which they're probably going to put money into in future years. I think he's content with where he is and has accepted the offer that the Warriors have given him. I know that we had that time when the Knights were after him, but he decided to stay home. So great to have him on our books. And he's still young, I think, quite relatively young. What's Pompey, 25, 26? Or
He'd be around about there, brother. I'm not too sure. I think he's
Yeah,
around
yeah.
about
So
that 26 range. And
he's
also,
coming into
like,
his prime. Yeah.
on his day, bro, he has those days where he can be upwards, like, you have great games against some of the top
Oh, we
centers in the
know.
competition.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
we've seen games 2023. He had that, amazing game against Braddon and Best where he baffed him a couple of times. Like, Brady Best played State of Origin the year after.
Yeah,
Like, he's
yeah,
got those games in him, but Pompey is Pompey, and I think we all love him at the moment for what he does. Yeah, great player.
yeah. We know the bro Pomps, and on this channel at least we've always respected him. I know
Yeah,
others probably have been a bit harsh on him, but we love Pomps and what he brings.
yeah.
Okay, man, you just want to do a quick recap of the Indigenous game? I missed this, but I watched the highlights. But everyone was mentioning the great intensity of the game, great
Yeah.
spectacle. What did you make of it? And specifically, players like Laban that got a try, and a few of our other boys, C&K as well. What would you
Mhm.
make of the performance?
Ton of heart, bro. Like, it just shows how much this game and the culture means to these communities, right? The Moldy All Stars coming out with the win, the 10-6 win, and fighting at the death. Dane Gagai, the hand of God. Some are saying, coming down and like knocking the ball out of Pudu's hands to win the game. Yeah, Pudu almost scoring a try to win the game for the Indigenous All Stars. So big game for Dane Gagai. He had Origin Gagai written all over him in this one in that Moldy jersey. So that's a great thing to see. And also just guys like Kalen Ponga. Some of the he looked like he was so ecstatic for the win that they had. He had a big try-saving tackle on Tyrone Munro that everyone's been talking about. Jesse Arthurs looked absolutely incredible. A guy that we used to have at the Warriors, and I would have loved to kept Jesse Arthurs. I think he's an incredible player. And then talking about our boys, like I thought Fish got about his work. He's so hardy in the middle. Incredible job from him. Jacob Laban scoring a try, and I thought defensively he was really solid out there. And obviously, Chance is Chance, bro. Chance is going to go out there and do his job, and he's going to work hard for everyone. So, I thought he did a solid work out there as well. So, well done, Moldy All Stars, but incredible talent, top to bottom on both these sides. And hopefully this game sticks around for many more years to come, because I'm sure both these cultures love this game to death.
Yeah, no, very, very, very nice. Yeah, sorry I missed that one, but from what I saw, it looked absolutely awesome. So it's good to have that.
Yeah.
Here, guys, and maybe check in tomorrow night with Ash. You might cover a little bit more of that and the NRL with the Bro Brody as well, guys. So jump on to Ash Thomas on YouTube, guys, for more stuff from Ash. Absolutely awesome. Everyone's loving it. So the feedback's been absolutely awesome. So don't miss that, guys. We're just close to wrapping it up. We appreciate everyone coming through tonight. Massive night, 90. I think we got up to 98 at some points.
Woo.
That's huge for us. We thank everyone that's coming. That's new. We appreciate you guys. Just to let you know, we do have another pre-recorded content coming out probably tomorrow, discussing all the SG ball and Harold Mats that happened on the weekend. That's something as a channel we've decided to add to. Wise Up TV is really focusing on juniors coming through. So Ash is more clued up than me, but I'm getting my head around how Matt's SG ball.
Too, mate.
I'll be honest with the fans. I'm not trying to hoodwink them into thinking I know all these kids, but we're trying to be better, and we want to let everyone know who we think are potential stars. So be ready for that, guys. It will drop tomorrow at some point. But yeah, and we also support the likes of the Bro Fanatics as well, who does amazing work. So Warriorholic, all the other guys that do really good work and have detailed stuff as well. So we support all of our content creators. But we'll leave it there, guys. So you expect a pre-recorded tomorrow. Just quickly for all of our members, our first grade members, thank you, Toilet Inspector. We'll get you into the WhatsApp chat. But for everyone else, we continue to support all of our members, reserve graders or first graders. We are going to be looking to having more opportunities for people to come on, jump on. You've already seen Josh Hill, one of our first graders, doing a wonderful job and almost building a spot for himself amongst the community. We encourage everyone to come and share their voice. It doesn't have to be on a live stream, but it can also be through a pre-recorded video. And we encourage you, if you want to do a post-match videos, we're going to create a way for you guys to share your thoughts. It doesn't have to be public. It can be private amongst members. If that's not your thing, that's fine. We're always trying to find a way to accommodate to hear your voice, whether it's just in the chat or any other way. We appreciate everyone's support. So, but anything else from you, Ash, before we wrap up?
Nah, not too much more, brother. Hopefully, obviously a nice weekend off for Warriors fans. Our Warriors roller coaster ride comes to a stop for a week, and then we go to Vegas, baby. That roller coaster ride is going to hit an all-time new high, so cannot wait to see that. Yeah, cannot wait, bro. Make sure, guys, if you want to jump over to Ash Thomas tomorrow night, me and Brody will go through all the footy in that, and also Supercoach fans, we are going to do a combined show. Usually we do a Supercoach show on Thursday. We've just started that up. We're going to combine that for Wednesday due to some prior commitments and all that sort of stuff on the Thursday night. So if anyone wants to see, I got a ton of Supercoach sides that a lot of people want to critique and all that sort of stuff. I don't know how I feel about critiquing sides because I don't think I'm incredible at Supercoach either way, but I'll give them obviously my thoughts on that. I think it's going to be a real fun show tomorrow night. So make sure you tune in.
So is that moving forward? You're going to do it on the one show, or are you going to go back to Wednesday, Thursday?
It will still go back to Wednesday, Thursday. It's just this week. Prior commitments that we both had, so we're just going to do an easy one on the Wednesday, a nice big show, and it should be real good, real fun.
Yeah, awesome. So guys, please jump onto Ash Thomas on YouTube if you haven't already subscribed to that. Ash and Brody do a wonderful job covering all the NRL. And now a lot of us are getting into Supercoach, especially here at Wise Up TV. We've got our own Wise Up TV league and Supercoach.
Yep.
So I expect everyone, the likes of Tahi, he's a big Supercoach guy. There's others there that really love it. So get to watch that show tomorrow night. What time is it starting?
Yep. So over here in Australia, mate, it'll be 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So I think you guys are 3 hours ahead from memory. So
8:30, guys. Just check in with it. Or just look for it on the page. So,
is daylight saving stop with you guys anytime soon?
We usually stop in April. Easter's when it usually changes over.
So it's still the same, 3 hours. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So just check in with that guy. Once you subscribe, you'll get the time frames and when it matches over to us. So, but thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Ash, as always, bro. Always amazing insights and everyone that's part of this. But yeah, we're starting to build up now, guys. So we'll have the weekend off, watch some footy, get to know the other teams, see who's strong, who you think's good. But then be ready for round one, man. We're going to be back to our watch-alongs as well. So be ready for that big event. So anyway, guys, thank you very much. Before you hit the road, hit that like, subscribe, and take care, guys. We'll catch you later. Peace.
Viva Vegas, baby!
See ya.